Hello, I'm Nicky Hutchison, and this is a little video footage I filmed way back at the very first year of the Summer of Sonic. SEGA! So the first year was held in the Dragon's Hall Community Centre in Covent Gardens, and it's surprising looking how different the venues have been over the years and how small this was. I mean, it was meant to hold up to about 267 people, and about 300 people came in the end. But in many ways, it is surprising just how many people had a keen interest to go to this little tiny hall somewhere in London, and arguably make something that not a lot of people really knew or heard about by mouth on the internet, and turn it into something that became this annual event that ran for so many years, and has only gotten better as time has gone on. So, artwork's become kind of a staple for Summer Sonic over the years, not more so than the fan art stuff, which has exponentially grown over the years. And some of the stuff that's produced on the tables at times are absolutely brilliant, and you do see there's a great genuine affection and indeed creativity that goes into this stuff, so it's always nice to sort of look by and check what they're doing. One of the unique things that were dotted around the place were these concept art stuff from the Sega vaults, and they were all over the place, and various stuff from Rush 2, Chronicles, and even Secret Rings. And what was nice is that it's the only place you could really show this stuff. Normally this stuff is very closed off, it's normally by developers and locked away in folders or storage places, so the fact that they get to be shown here and give you a better insight to the sort of artwork that goes into making a lot of these games, and sort of the visual aspects of Sonic as well, it's just a great joy, more or less for me probably than anybody else, but I generally think it's something that people kind of unappreciate a little bit over the years, but it was great to see them. One of the oddest surprises that were there was these background character and model sheets for Sonic Underground, which were on the fire exit door for the whole building. As you can probably tell, a lot of the artwork here is reused from SATEM, which is not a terrible thing. It's a really good excuse to see this stuff up close, seeing Robotropolis and Knot Hole. One of my absolute favourites is this thing that's a combination of tubes, wires and vents all coming into this tiny computer screen to a chair, and you know, it's kind of overkill in terms of how it works, but it's such this sort of kid's idea of what a super high-tech sort of thing is, and if anything I sort of love it from that idea and just how well done it is. In a nutshell, character sheets are there to give the artists and animators the idea of what character looks like from different directions, and how they express and how they emote different things, and how certain characters will be drawn. And it's basically sort of how-to guide to get the show made. And what's surprising is that just like the official Sega art stuff, this is stuff that really is unseen by people or are left in by collectibles and are pretty much worthless to anybody else unless you are a keen viewer or fan of that thing. And being both loving animation and Sonic, this was absolute joy for me. So I spent a long time looking down that area. Aside from drawings, we also had our resident showcase cabinet. This is where all the kind of, you know, trinkets and memorabilia and promos would all be put into one area for people to look and gawp at, pretty much. One thing that was kind of unique for that year were these character conversation pieces, all done from Sonic Chronicles, and they were sort of all dotted around the place on various things on walls and stickers. And I'm surprised they didn't make them kind of an ongoing thing for over the years, but some of the stuff on them is kind of funny. And a lot of the stuff you see here is kind of a mix of what Sega had from the vaults, as well as what fans had lying around as well. As for instance, the Sonic the Comic panel was from Adam Tuff, and they say that because, you know, it reappeared again for Sonic the Comic Con a few years ago, so yeah, it gets shown off once or twice. Over the years, it's often accumulated a couple of other little rare trinkets now and again. A few times it's been there to show off the first figure statues from the classic ones, Supersonic, Light Up, and Metal Sonic. One year, somebody had bought off the video game confession drawing from Doug Walker, actually, and put it in the showcase cabinet, so I was kind of surprised something like that would even turn up at all. What started off, of course, just as an idea from Sven that turned into a website to celebrate the 15th anniversary, then turned into this kind of, oh hey, we can do this for real, and I guess really, if it wasn't for them, none of this would really be possible. SEGA's role in this is kind of a big old deal, and the fact that they were willing to help out with this event and became more priority for them for each year, like, what are you doing for the next year? And it's like, well, we don't know, we've just finished this year's off, we don't know what we're doing next.
It's sort of my trademark, and Sonic the Hedgehog influenced me.
It's also a chance for a lot of the artists from the Sonic community to meet up and greet with each other. This guy, for instance, Elson Wong, hopefully I've said his name right, was one of the first sort of artists to sort of showcase his work, and as you can see he's talking to Nigel Kitching and showing off some of the amazing work. I think he did some of the posters actually for the event as well. And like I said, we've gotten more people over the years, and we've gotten people from the Sonic Paradox and a lot of fan animations and artwork. So, like I said, this is often the great chance to meet a lot of these people that you either admired from afar on DeviantArt and that you get to meet up face to face. And it's just a great time to really socialise with these type of people.
What's your name?
Nicky. It's Nicky.
Icky.
Nicky. It's Nicky.
Icky.
Yeah, Nicky.
Nice to meet you, buddy. Nice to meet you.
That said, it was pretty hard to get a conversation going because it was pretty loud that day. Pretty difficult, but it's doable. You just have to bear with it.
For these,
Alright.
that's Nigel Dobbins art.
Look, the red.
However, we did
You can always
actually
check
have
this out
some
because it's always got
other
the red
prizes,
bits in the eyes.
other prize pack that we were
And the
looking to give away.
As of course, with any of these type of fan conventions, you're going to get cosplayers popping out. Although surprisingly, we only had one that year, and I'm going to let this video play, and you'll see particularly what was so unique about this person.
And contrary to the moustache, what is your actual name?
Get a load of this.
I knew it! T-Bird is Zodri Man! Hello.
Silence! I am Dr. Robotnik!
Shouldn't you be taking over, trying to take over some kind of godly power and then losing control of it and then losing and going away? And
Have you noticed that Sonic has run away?
Sonic has run away because he has to stop all your devious traps that you have laid in Green Hills. Anyway,
Save the animals.
so for sheer bravery and dedication, we'd like to give you this little prize pack. We've got a Sonic t-shirt in here, we've got a little mini Knuckles, Sonic and Tails plushie, we've got little keyring things, some badges, and Doctor. Yes, you're pregnant as well, apparently. This is. I know you're a genius, but it wasn't in that way we were thinking. We'd like to present this to you. Thank you very much for doing this and entertaining us all, and congratulations. Thank you very much indeed.
In terms of games, we had the first showing off of Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood, which, again, in terms of the games we've had over the years, queue-wise wasn't very too terrible, though that would get worse, particularly by Sonic 4, which I'll probably tell that another time. But yeah, both that and the Mario and Sonic games, and again, this is often the case where Sega pretty much had a guarantee that people wanted to check this stuff out. Now, often when the games are showed off, of course, there tends to be a huge queue, and normally there would be a huge queue depending on which type of game there is. Particularly that year, I think there was around about six or so line of people waiting to queue up for Chronicles, whereas Mario and Sonic Olympic Games was a little shorter. But at the time, it's surprising how much it's gone a bit chaotic. By the time we got Sonic 4 Episode 1, the queue was it was unbelievable. I mean, it just went on all day, and practically up to a point where, you know, if you wanted to get a go, you pretty much had to wait until the very end to nab on a chance, which I did. The downside, both being there and even filming this, was inevitably you're going to constantly be hot and cramped in these areas, and I was constantly sort of doing a whole excuse me, pardon me routine, sort of to get the areas to film this stuff, and it was pretty hard, and it is knackering just even to get the best shots of half the stuff. Also, with that amount of people, stuff that's on display and things are inevitably going to get knocked over, as my friend Mizzy here will show you. But no harm done really, and actually funny enough, because of that, I think that's how we ended up becoming best friends, ended up just talking about this whole scenario. If you were to ask who was the most surprised and just turning up, I guess you'd probably have to go to Nigel Kitching of all people.
Yeah, give us away. He's going to be formally signing things at 1:30 at the comics area over there. But he just told me he's more than happy to have a word with anyone that wants to approach him and just have a chin wag. So yeah, we'll let you know.
When I asked him how he felt the first time around, he did say it's like, yeah, I enjoyed it. He felt fine. He was okay. The only person who was the most concerned, I think, was his wife, because she wasn't too sure what he was getting himself in for, and I wouldn't blame her. I also want to take this opportunity for Nigel, if you're watching this, sorry for having the camera on you for a long time. Oh god. Having a camera pointed at someone, it's not always the best thing to do, especially if they're not comfortable being filmed, but I told him afterwards and he was okay with it. But again, I apologise for filming him in a point where he felt like I was intruding on his own personal space. So like I said, sorry mate, I was young and ambitious, and hell, I was a kid with a camera, so what do you expect? For a lot of us UK fans, on the comic, in many ways, has sort of cemented why the series has been so popular with so many people. Over the years have gone, we've managed to get, both Nigel Dobbing, Richard Burton, one of the other editors, and Richard Elson. And when I even talked to him, he actually said, I'm always a bit apprehensive going to these type of things, and I'm never quite sure about how they'll turn out. But ultimately, he said, just like everybody else, it was a lot of fun. It was just so friendly. And again, it's one of the testimonies that, given the right group of people and creative minds, you take what essentially is a very basic, hero and villain story or setup, and they could turn it into something else which exceeds probably even their expectations. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's become kind of a regular part for SOS over the years. It's just truly at the very heart of what people love about Sonic. Probably thought to themselves that most people here are kind of viewing them as, well, like celebrities for the most part.
Thank you very much, sir. Very much, Gary. That would be too much trouble. Sorry, it's alright. Just had that drawn by Nigel Kitching.
But it's given the readers a chance to finally chat with these people, as you can see here with Gareth.
He turns everyone tries to kill Amy. It's like one of the best.
I remember thinking, it was there right the whole page of heads. The bit where he changes back from the subsonic to Sonic. It's like just a page of his heads laughing.
Oh yeah, that panel was, they goes, what have I done? It was
a lot of space to use up for this one idea.
I loved it. What was your favourite arc?
That was one of them. Also, the last 10 issues I did, the Chaos.
Oh, the Chaos.
Chaos? Was that?
Chaos, yeah.
That was a good one, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So I was given 10 issues to all to work out. I remember loads of stuff in there.
We decided to kill Johnny because I read a quote from you somewhere where you quote us saying Johnny is boring, so he must die. Is that true? Did you really say that?
It's a joke. I spoke to the editor about killing him off to make sure it was okay. We'd all been agreed. I think I written the synopsis, I just wrote that for a laugh. But he was boring, I wasn't like it.
Because I remember early on you saying you wanted to do a love triangle with him, Sonic and Amy. Why didn't that?
Mainly because I could never get a long enough run on the comic. That sort of story has to be built quite gradually and carefully. And I was always been taken off for a while Lou wrote a few. It's quite hard to do a backstory like that when you stuff have along in the front. I guess.
I would say that I've gone back and looked, I would say my favourite issue of any comic ever, and I've had quite a few, is the issue with you doing the Medley saga, where you have Sonic go back in time and make it so he's the one who made Kentable become Robotnik.
That was kind of based on Sonic CD.
Yeah, no, but the issue where like it's expected you having where he's responsible for Robotnik becoming himself. That I thought was genius. It was during where it was
I can't think why I did that now. I can't remember what the reason was.
because he had that. I think it was because the Brotherhood of Metal Sonics were gonna they had to go back in time and stop them doing that. But I was just reading that thinking that's genius.
All I remember is Richard Elson used to argue with me about the time story thing. He kept saying it didn't work, it was wrong, it didn't work out right. And he kept on being sort of talked around. But to this day I don't think he still believes it works. I think we saw the same page twice.
These trying to Terminator, but yeah, that was great.
It was some time loop thing.
Yeah, where he comes in and he's small and he goes, right, in the future I'm a midget. Yeah, that page.
And Richard saw the same page of artwork twice. And I saw the same page of script twice. It's quite fun. But that confused people. And that's Fleetway, I mean.
Why was it told? You know how why was it told in like 4 stories? Why wasn't it like one long Sonic comic, like one story about Sonic per issue? How did that?
Well, Rich could only draw so fast. He had to do 7 pages in a week or something.
Yeah, I think it was 7 was Sonic and the other thing was 5.
So you couldn't do it. Unless you couldn't do all that work. But not on a bi-weekly schedule anyway. And just the way things were, I suppose, it was anything.
Oh no, you mean
There's no good reason, really.
I'll end this section off with these 2 stories I have about Nigel Kitching. The first one is, after I met him, of course, I didn't expect to see him anytime soon, or, probably at one of these events when they came around. But after I finished at your college, I was going to get a replacement at Teesside University. And when I got there, I found out that, of all things, that my sequential art tutor was going to be Nigel Kitching. I mean, totally unannounced, didn't say it. It was just like, here's this guy Nigel Kitching. He's going to be your tutor. So, so I had that for about 3 years, and it was fun. The second one was during a practical lesson. He gave us a brief saying that I want you to do a 1-page comic of the scene of a guy in a bar, hooded cloak, and everybody else is going like, "What's your deal, pal?" And then pulls it off, and there's a big dramatic reveal. And only to my knowledge, I realised, hang on, this is the opening page for Running Rail Part 3 of all things. And even though I was there at the time, I didn't try to nag him or bug him about, when did you do this, how did you do that type stuff while I was there, because I thought, we won't want that, he's here to do his job and get through it. But having that in was just like a cheeky little wink, if anything else. I mean, eventually told everybody, okay, this is the panel I actually did, and the only person who found out was Nikki, but I like that little thing. It's the fact that Sonic the Comic is still being used. Music has been the biggest drawing factor when it comes to SOS, and I think it's also the reason why whenever the tickets go on sale, they tend to go out in a snap. So, you know who to blame. For many, music has been the biggest drawing factor for SOS. Though for the first year, it wasn't really like the main headlining thing for the event. Again, looking back at the first year, Sven and gang must have thought like, okay, let's tell you what went well, what didn't work so well, what was the most intrigue from the crowd, and in many ways I think they realised that for a lot of the attendees that have come over the years, it's a great opportunity, like I said before with the various guests, to actually meet the musicians and see them perform live in the same way that you would go off and see them in Glastonbury. I've often compared Summer Sonic as like a miniaturised Glastonbury in that sense. And having the likes of Richard Dreykus, Lee Brotherton and TJ Davis, I think cemented the fact that this was going to become a huge part, if not one of the major parts, of why people would come to this event in the first place. I did say to Lee, it's quite fortunate he came in a vest, because if he was in anything else he would have been boiled to death, and he agreed with me on that. Having been this the first time I ever met him and sort of realised what he was famous for, I have to admit I was kind of surprised at just how big an audience he had, and I think partly, I think because it's on the Hedgehog, that's only just grown as the subsequent years. But joking aside, you know, very nice guy, wonderful singer. Again, I totally put my hands down, and he's definitely got talent. When it came to Muse Absolution, I ended up having to do a bit of a lyric improvisation, as you'll hear soon.
Yes, 20 seconds. It's off my hand.
Tell me what to do.
Just say anything you can say would make sense.
Last call for the Guinness World Record Challenge, just over there. The fastest time in the world of Emerald Hill Zone Act 1 is 21 seconds. We've got 20 seconds!
Yeah!
We have a winner! But we're going to give you about 15 minutes to try and beat that score, because apparently that's the fastest time at the moment. So, Jake, get over there and try and beat it. Yeah, don't.
And of course, it wouldn't be complete without a little visit from SEGA of Europe's own Sonic the Hedgehog. And it's been used for nearly all of Summer of Sonic, apart from the year in Brighton, which I think due to the fact of the change of venue, they had to supplement it with a less flattering costume. So out of the 1 year, we've always had this one. I do think whenever this appears, I always think, oh, what are the poor bugger that's stuck in the outfit there is probably boiling to death. But, but at the same time, he's probably the most loved out of the entire area, so there you go. But you know, it's always used to get the crowd cheering, and oftentimes for, like I said, announcement, in this case the world record attempt at the Sonic 2 level, which was broken that year.
T-shirt, good. That's all 27 seconds. Mateo. Yeah, Mateo, 27 seconds. Tio. Tio. Those guys are 27 seconds.
What's it feel like being squashed between a girl and a hedgehog?
Sorry, what did you say?
What's it feel to be squashed between a hedgehog and a girl?
Great, actually. Right, I need to go because I'm going to fall over.
The story of how actually we got Crush 40. So Adam, who's got contacts with Juzunoi, told him about this event and say, why don't you come down one of these years? And he said, I'd love to, but Johnny and I aren't, together at the minute, so we may have to do another year. Then he said, well, why don't you come over and just play some tunes? He said, oh no, partly because he was shy, but apparently his answer was just like, oh, all those people, they didn't want to come all the way to London or whatever just to see me. Which if it was me on the phone to him, I would have said, mate, this is the one place you would be welcomed with open arms and applauding cheers.
You didn't get 21 seconds, you got 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Oh, there he goes.
So congratulations, Jay.
There he goes.
I feel sorry for him. They've been racing around everyone.
Let's get a proper snap. Congratulations, Dave. Go back, man. Hey, Louis, how do you feel? I feel very good.
That's all you have to say.
Understatement.
Right, I want to take a picture now. So this is for the book. Hopefully going in the 2009 Gamers Edition. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Well done.
Congratulations.
Fastest thumbs in Britain.
Oh, sorry, I've just
Guys, take loads of photos.
Yeah,
My camera's gone dead.
I took photos of his t-shirt.
be good, ladies and gentlemen, what you've actually done for us. No, Richard did Rusty Bruin for us. What have you done for us? Just for us.
Well, not too many people know that I was involved in the arrangement and engineering of the Crush Sporty version of His World. How many people here have heard that? Stupid question, really. So yeah, I wanted to put something together, especially for today, because it is such a momentous occasion, the first ever Summer of Sonic. I mean, how cool is this? How many of you are having a good time? Come on, how many of you are having a good time? That's better. So yeah, I just I put this together, especially for today, and with Kevin and everyone's help. This is the official theme of Summer of Sonic 2008. So this is His World. Please enjoy.
Oh boy.
Feel free to sing along if you know the words. I need some help. You cannot run, you cannot hide. 'Cause we can see your strength inside. And if you fall, if you may falter, we'll be with you, that will not falter. And he can feel with that one touch. It becomes surreal, but it's true. The power lives inside of you. Come on! Inside of you, yeah. In this world, where life is strong. In this world, never fear the fall. In this world, where compromise does not exist. In this world of worlds, every step meets the rest. In this world, where one is all. In this world, never fear the fall. In this world, where compromise does not exist. In this world of worlds, every step meets the rest. And,
It's all your fault.
yeah, again, I wanted to do something different today. So this is actually the version that was recorded for my album, which I am happy to confirm it is being released in the next 6 months or so.
Took that long?
Please be patient. It is on the way, I swear. I'm not lying.
Took that long?
But yeah, this was done for my album, and no one's heard it before. This is an exclusive today. So yeah, you kind of saw it coming. Please enjoy. This is Dreams and
No, it
Absolution.
didn't.
Mr. Richard James, everybody! In the nightlight, you see what you dream. All your troubles, are they or what they seem? Look around you, you may realize all the preachers all with their lies. And I might know of our future, but then you still control the past. Only you know if you'll be together, and only you know if we shall last. Come on, I want to hear you louder. Thank you.
I don't know the words.
In the nightlife, you see what you dream. All your triumph and all you'll ever be. Look around you, you may realize happiness lies trapped in misery. And who knows what of our future? We can all try to change our past. Only you know if you'll be together. Come on, louder. 'Cause every night I will save your life. And every night I will be with you. 'Cause every night I still lay awake and that you are an absolution. 'Cause every night I will make it right. And every night I will come to you. But every night it just stays the same. In my dream of an absolution. Thank you. Okay, I want your help with this bit. So all join in. Ready? 'Cause every night I will and every night I will 'cause every night I still of an absolution. 'Cause every night I will
I have no idea.
and every night I will
What does this all mean?
but every night it just stays the same in my dream.
Oh, dear.
And you see what you've been. And you see, yeah, all you can be. Whoa. 'Cause every night and every night and every night I will dream. Yeah, this is my dream. And every night, and I'll always dream. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a wonderful audience. Thank you very much.
Bloody fantastic.
Get a drink.
Good Lord, it's hard here. I'd like to say a huge thank you to TJ. And of course, Mr. Richard Jacques.
Yeah.
I'd also like to take this opportunity to offer a huge thanks to all the organisers for putting on such a great day for all of us to enjoy. So a massive round of applause for them, please. Mr. PA man.
I was more pointing at Dreadnoughts who's over there.
My apologies. Mr. Dreadnoughts over there. Kevin Eva over here. Is there anyone else I've forgotten?
That guy.
There's too many people here.
Us lot. Thank us.
Okay, I have one tiny little bit more left for you. If you want, I want to hear you all sing along. In this world, where life is strong. In this world, life's an open book. In this world, where compromise does not exist. In this world of words, every step means correct. In this world, where one is all. In this world.
So when I round things off with this little piece of trivia, in the sort of health and safety in terms of condition things, there were the usual things that don't bring outside of food, don't smoke inside, you know, do not bring along anything that would be considerably sharp or a weapon. But what was interesting for me was the in one note, it actually says, please do not discuss Jason Griffin or the 4Kids voice acting at this event. And you have to remember, this was just 2 years after '06, and for a lot of people this was like the main problem with the series. You know, people were either deadly serious about it or joking like crazy with it. And when I read it, I was kind of a bit unnerved because I felt like, oh god, this will be the one thing to ruin the whole day. But when I got there, and after about an hour or so, I just felt like, oh, I guess nothing's happened. I even asked the bodyguard, saying, hey, have you had any issues about the whole 4Kids voice acting? Has anybody brought it up? As like, no, we haven't. We've overheard a few people talk about it, but yeah, nothing bad's happened. The fact that in that environment and in the community since then, we could look back at the whole 4Kids stuff and just see what it really was. Just a bunch of silly jokes, really. For an extra, I thought I might as well end this off with a little bit of a anticlimax. Having spent the whole day behind the desk and signing comics, drawings, and answering people's questions, and I thought the best time to really do an interview with him would be at the very end of the day when everybody's packing up and ready to leave. And everything seemed okay, except trying to do this was, A, it was still incredibly loud for me to ask him stuff, and B, even while he answered it for me, it was too loud to even hear it on the camera. So I can just let this video play and you can watch the entirety of how it didn't work. Unfortunately, the camera battery ran out at that point, so you don't get to see the whole thing. Sorry about that.